Excuse me, folks. We're going to go ahead and get started. I want to thank everybody coming out to the special luncheon to meet Coach Burt and his team. I've been working with Coach Burt's systems for almost 6 months now, and it's a fundamental that I believe in. It aligned. If you know me, and after you hear Coach, you'll understand that we're in close alignment. And I wanted you all to have it up close and personal because I see you all as go-getters, and I like to give go-getters the advantage to shine. So with that, thank you, Coach Burt, for coming.
Absolutely. Nice to meet you folks. You're going to tell my southern accent. I'm from outside of Nashville, Tennessee, so you're going to pick up on that, so we'll go ahead and address it. I'm actually kind of a city boy from Tennessee, but so I don't hunt or fish or anything like that. But when you think about, if I could give you an unfair advantage in your market, would you take it? A legal unfair advantage. Yeah. If I could give you a legal unfair advantage, would you take it? Right? I want you to think about that. I'm a former women's basketball coach, championship women's basketball coach. That's why you see this big gaudy ring on my right finger. I spent a decade taking a place that had never won and turned into really a powerhouse that has now won 7 of the last 9 state championships in Tennessee. It's the #1 team in the country twice. And so I took people from all walks of life and all socioeconomic backgrounds and good parents and bad parents and no parents, and I put them on a team and systematically kind of turned that place into a championship place. But the way I was doing it was I was going over to the business world and studying business principles. So I was going over and I was studying things like the 7 habits of highly effective people and the principles of good to great, the 5 dysfunctions of teams. And this was back in, the late 90s, early 2000s. And I was bringing these principles over to my team and teaching my players that. So imagine if you had a daughter, and I have a 6-year-old daughter, if you have a kid and from 14 to 18 they're learning those things. So they're going to school and they're not only learning what they're learning at school, but they got this little coach and I'm just coaching them through these principles. So pretty soon our players were smarter than other people's players, they were more connected, they had more chemistry, they had more buy-in. And when you have those intangible things, what happens is you begin to produce at a much higher level. So pretty quickly, 3 or 4 years into this, we begin winning, and we begin winning a lot. And so people kept asking me, what are you doing? What are you doing with those kids? That's what people kept asking me. And I don't have time to talk about it. I'm trying to win championships. So what if I just wrote it in a book and you could buy the book? I'll start writing. So I started writing books about how we were inner engineering people. So all they focus on is your skill, okay? Which is good, but it's only one part. What good is skill with no desire? That's the heart. What good is skill with no confidence? That's the spirit. What good is confidence with no skill? Well, it's arrogance, right? And my definition of arrogance is when your self-appraisal is greater than your market value. Okay, that's a good real estate. So I started writing books. I was 24, 25 years old. I'm 41 now. And the more books I wrote, the more business people began to call me, and they began to say the same thing. Will you come over and speak to our people? These were real estate companies, mortgage companies, insurance kind of company you can imagine. And I would go over and speak to the company and talk about my systems and how I was engineering people and how we're getting better results. And pretty soon the owners of those companies started to say, will you come back and speak to our people again, like once a month or once a quarter? And some people began saying, what would it cost us if you were coaching, if you would come back and coach my team? And what did I say? I'm coaching kids. I love coaching kids. I have no intention of coaching adults. Okay, that's why you never say never on anything, right? I'm like, look, I love coaching kids. We're going to win championships. I'm going to go into college. I'm going to be the next Gino Auriemma of women's basketball. I mean, that was my trajectory, right? Win, go to college, be a head coach. But here's what I noticed. I would go out and give these presentations, and I'm like, man, these adults are getting it. The feedback was phenomenal. They were like, man, we love this. Will you come back, right? And they were buying the books, and so that just kind of unintentionally grew to where I was getting speaking requests really from all over the country while I was a high school basketball coach, right? So I won a championship at 30 years old, did everything we could do there. 31 years old, I walked in and I retired from athletic coaching to start a coaching business. Now, this was in '08, so where's all my real estate people? Okay, now, I was so naive, I was either really confident or really dumb because I started a business right in the middle of the recession. Okay, now, let me tell you the benefit of this. I signed bigger contracts in the middle of the recession even than I do today. Now I want you to think about that, because when people are struggling, there is a certain percentage of the people that will contract. That means they'll shut it down, they'll cut everything. I mean everything. And then there's a certain percentage of the population that says, no, 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 this is the precise time that I need to be getting better. So some people will amp up their training while some people cut their training. Does that make sense? So in '08, guess who began to hire me? Home builders, big home builders that were selling 700 to 1,000 homes a year. And I know nothing about, at that time I had no knowledge whatsoever of home building. Process, sales process, nothing. But the very first big contract I signed was with the largest home builder in Tennessee. And we got in there, and here was his goal that year. Don't you imagine if your goal this year, only to lose $500,000. So I sat down with him in the first meeting, and I'm like, what's our dominant focus? Like, what's our target? Which is something I force everybody to give me. And he's like, this is simple. Not go bankrupt. Like we're looking at our numbers, and if we only lose $500,000 this year, this will be successful to me. Now, this builder had $10 million in a bank account. He called it a go broke fund. He was worth $50 million when I first started coaching him, but he was watching his net worth go down, and he was scared, right? He was literally scared because he was having to lay people off, and he was, right? This is the same builder who had given out $600,000 in bonuses just a few years earlier, taking everybody in the company on cruises. He had his own private jet. I mean, this guy had homes in Florida, and I mean, he was a big-time dude, but he was scared to death that all of this was going to go away, because that's what was happening with builders in that time. Everybody remembers that, right? So this is how I start my business coaching, is I start coaching people who are scared, and so our goal was to get him profitable. We did. He did not lose $500,000. He finished the year profitable that year. We consider that a major success. And then because of our success, guess what he started doing? He started telling all of his friends. And so he was big buddies with all other home builders. These are independent home builders, not like Pulte or Beezer, but independently owned by one person. So he would tell his buddies, man, you got to hire my coach, because this guy helped me get through this. You see what I'm saying? So I began picking up other big home builders in the country. What follows that typically? Think about who else I began picking up. Real estate agents, real estate companies. Then I began picking up some of the biggest mortgage companies. Then I began picking up title companies. Then I began picking up anything that touches home ownership, the American dream of home ownership, let's say, okay? Because there's a lot of competition around that. Wouldn't you agree? So right now I'm coaching 5 of the top 10 mortgage originators in the state of Tennessee. My number 1 person is doing $142 million per year, which is not bad for a mortgage originator, right? But I've got people doing $100 million, $90 million, $80 million, and then I've got what I call my little baby stars. And my baby stars are just little stars that are going to be big at some point, right? And they may be doing 10 million or 12 million, because every big star started as a what? As a little star. And in the grand scheme of things, I'm still a little star in the coaching world, because I'm competing versus people like Tony Robbins and Grant Cardone, and you know what I mean, people that you listen to, John Maxwell, whoever you listen to, but I'm only in my 10th year of doing this. So, and a lot of those guys are 20 or 30 years older than me. So they have a head start, but we're catching steam, okay? So I go out and start coaching these companies, we start having success. And when I say success, 30, 40, 50% increases in a single year cycle. So we started coaching banks, all kinds of people. But I didn't have a program for individuals. So people kept coming to me saying, how do I, like I'm a salesperson, I want to get a bump, how do I get in this, right? And I'm like, well, I don't have anything for individuals because I'm only coaching companies. So here's a question for you. What's the largest check you've ever cashed in your life? And where did it originate? And my second question would be, why haven't you gone back there and got another one, right? See, this is how you need to be thinking. Blue marlin versus bluegill. You need to be thinking, we wake up and go fishing, we fish for blue marlin, we don't fish for little bluegill. Little bluegills are little small problems. Bluegills are big problems. That's where you get paid the most money, right? So I put a coaching program together. 8 people was in that program. They got a lot of individual attention from me, right? Because I got 8 little individuals, and they're paying every month. And I call that program Monster Producer, because I believe a monster producer is a legendary creature that combines multiple skills to dominate a market. Now, as soon as I say that, there's only 1 or 2 ways a person goes. Some people are like, that's what I want to be. You can either be in the market, you can be one of the players in the market, or you can make a decision you want to do what? Dominate the market. Everybody makes right? There's a certain percentage of the population out there that do not just want to compete in the marketplace, they want to dominate in the marketplace. They want to crush it, right? Those are monster producers, okay? Gene is one of those people. The people I brought with me on the plane with me today are monster producers. They want to go out there and do big things. So I create this program with 8 people. Fast forward 5 years later, and now we have over 600 monster producers in the program, and they are literally all over the world. We've got them in other countries. We've got one in Alaska. We've got them in Mexico. We got a request this week for me to speak in Cape Town, South Africa. I'm like, how long does it take to get to South Africa, right? Because I get antsy on the long plane rides. But now what we're doing is trying to go all over the world, okay? So what do? We coach people in key areas. Now, I'm going to be asking you a question, so I want you to think about this. I'm going to give you 5 areas where you could be struggling in your business, okay? 1, how you explain your services. When you get an opportunity to get in front of people, how good are you at explaining your value to those people in such a way that they are compelled to want to do business with you, okay? And we have a formula that we use called the explanation of services, which is a 6-step framework that we use to teach people. When you get in front of people, this is how you do it. Everybody with me? And it's not by leading with what you do, by the way. It's the greatest trap in the world. When I ask you what you do for a living, I'm really, it's like a little sneak attack, okay? You don't know it. But just remember this, I do believe people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Okay, and listen, no, I hate to say this, but nobody cares that I'm a coach. Nobody cares that you're in the mortgage business or the real estate business or the title business. What they care about is what do you believe and what do I believe, and do we believe the same things, right? And if we believe the same things, let's line up and do business with each other. And if we don't, it's okay. There's no rejection. Some will, some won't, so what? Okay? So think about, do you struggle with how you explain your services? And the way I would know that if I ask you, what do you do for a living? Most people panic, they sweat, they look down to the left. It's like, well, I'm a real estate agent. Sell real estate in Ohio, or I own a title company, I'm in the business, you know what I'm saying? They tell you what they do. If you were to ask me that question, I say, well, let me back up and tell you what I believe before I tell you what I do. I believe every person on the planet needs a good coach in their life. I believe those that have a coach earn 3 and 4 times the amount of money than those that don't. I believe you can't see the picture when you're inside the frame. I believe you need to have a person in your life who will have hard conversations with you, make you do things you don't want to do, help you become something you didn't think you could become. Now, just by saying that, how many of y'all believe the same things I do, by the way? How many of you believe that? Now, it's okay if you don't. There's no rejection. 7.5 billion people on planet Earth, right? Some people are going to line up, some people are not. So what I do is I go out to the marketplace and I share what I believe, and I say, people who are interested, come on board, let's go do something big. People are not, it's okay. It's okay. We don't have to do business together, right? Because there's so many people out there. So do you struggle with how you explain your services? That's the first big one, okay? Number 2, do you have a selling system? Okay, if the purpose of any business is to create a customer, do you have a calculated and coordinated and strategic way in which you attack a day like a cheetah? Okay, not a turtle. You ever seen a turtle crossing the street? Man, I feel so bad for those little turtles. I saw one crossing the street the other day. I was like, man, this ain't going to end good for this little guy. Barely going, you know what I'm saying? A cheetah is very methodical. And when I wrote the book Zebras and Cheetahs, a cheetah looks different than every other animal. Excuse me, a cheetah runs faster than every other animal in the animal kingdom. It has a 60% close ratio. Now, I want you to think about that. When cheetahs wake up in the morning, what do? Attack. And they go after something, and they're methodical. They don't just sit around and go, I wonder what we're going to do today. A lot of people out there are turtles. They go to the office and they wait on things to happen. They sit in a defensive posture. So we teach a selling system about how you prospect, who you call, what you say, how you follow up. You understand what I'm saying? There's a process that we're teaching people. Because as an old basketball coach, do you ever think I would go into a game without a game plan? I would study for hours and watch film and break it down. Then I would set plays that I thought had the highest probability of working. So if I had 6 seconds left and I had to score 1 basket, I went straight to my play sheet and I said, which play worked 90% of the time? That play does. Okay, that's the one we run. So when I started coaching business people, I would say, how many strategies are you using right now to get your phone to ring? And you know what they said? Boy, that's a good question. I was like, man, that's a good question. Like, what do? Well, we do a little bit of referrals, and we do a little bit of networking, and we do a little social media, and we got a website, and I'm like, all right, give me number one. Like, what's your number one strategy? Hey, well, I don't know. I'd have to check on that. What's your number two? What's three? What's four? Like, what's your primary strategies versus your secondary strategies? Like, are you getting enough leads? You see what I'm saying? I would ask them these probing questions, and they didn't know the answers to them. So that's a problem for a lot of people. They don't have a good selling system, okay? So they're random and sporadic. The difference between me and most sales training platforms is I teach you how to generate leads. A lot of sales programs teach you what to say, how to overcome objections, technical aspects of selling. We teach that too, but what I found out is that ain't the problem. Okay? Gene's problem ain't getting what to say when he gets, what his problem could be is how many people can he say it to? How many people can he get in his pipeline every week? That's what I found out was the real problem with people. Not like when a customer's in front of me what I say, but like how do I get more customers in front of me? How do I get double and triple the amount of prospects? That's everybody's problem, right? There's some weeks that I generate 400 or 500 leads in a week. But not everybody generates 400 or 500 leads a week. Some people generate 3 or 4 leads a week. Does that make sense? And I would tell you if I got 400, it ain't enough. I'd like to have 4,000, right? Whatever we're doing, it's not enough. Can we agree on that? So, all right, so that was a second area. So I created the Legacy Selling System, which is a selling system that we teach people and how to attack the day. It's actually tied to a planner. So I created these little planners. Eugene's put his into an app called Slack. We're actually coming out with an app that'll have the selling system in it. But basically, when I come into a day, you know, my day is preset. So it shows you who I'm going after, my time blocking on one side, shows you my goals, what's my goal, where am I actually at, what day is it, here's my targets for the day. Okay, so I sit down and spend 7 to 15 minutes every night, and I map out my next day, and I'm very intentional with my time. You follow what I'm saying? I've got a wife, and I've got a 6-year-old daughter, and I got a life outside of being Coach Burt all the time. You know what I'm saying? I got dreams and passions and hopes and goals, and when I'm working, I'm working. I'm focused, I'm intentional, I don't mess around. You follow what I'm saying? But what I find is a lot of people are not focused and intentional. They spend a lot of time in low-value activity. And low-value activities, activities they do during the day that does not produce money. You see what I'm saying? Low-value conversations. And most people are not prospecting 2 hours a day. And that's one of my rules, man. If you're going to be great, you got to prospect 2 hours a day. During your prospecting time, you can't deal with anything that occurred in the past. Everybody see that? No operational things when you're prospecting. Nothing, no working on a contract you sold last week. When you're prospecting, it's for one thing, new money. New money, new money, new money, new money, right? So, and what are you willing to do to get new money? Okay? Now I want you to think about that. Where are you willing to go? Like I was willing this morning to get up, get on my own airplane, fly up here. Probably cost me $7,000 in fuel to get up here today. But I'm willing to go anywhere, anytime, to get in front of new people, to generate new opportunity. Does that make sense? I hear some people go, well, you know, be inconvenient to drive 30 minutes down the road. You see what I'm saying? You got to be willing to do what it takes, whatever it takes if you're serious about growing your business, right? We had a title person last week. Where's my title people? Right here. And I'm working with a real estate agent in my program. We got a title person that we're coaching. He's not hitting his numbers. We're trying to coach him how to get business, and the real estate agent brought him 2 deals on Saturday. And here's what she couldn't get in touch with him. And then he said, well, I'm on vacation. I have to get back to you next week. I'm like, look, man, there ain't no vacation when you're broke. You understand what I'm saying? I'm like, how could you, why wouldn't you just say, look, I'll take care of it. I mean, how long would it take? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes? Just deal with it. You're trying to get new business, man. You don't say, I'll be back in the office on Monday, because those agents will take those deals somewhere else. Now, if he's making $4 million a year, he wants to take Saturday off, okay? I mean, I'm a man of faith, and here's the deal. Just read the Bible. God come right out of the gates. What did it say? God didn't sit around and think, didn't set up in the throne. What did he do? He created. He worked. He worked 6 days, and then he took 1 day off. He did not work 2 days and take 4 off or 5 days off, right? Which is how some people operate. I'm like, man, go to work. Create. So the second piece is the selling system. So think about, are you deficient there? Third place is the follow-up. Most statistics say it takes 7 to 15 touches 80% of the time to get a person to go from a prospect to a client. Most people do not go 7 touches. Everybody understand what I'm saying? Or they don't have 7 good touches. So they follow up with real vague things like, how you doing? Do you have any questions? You know, all these type things. So I wrote a book on this called $1 Million Follow-Up, which is how you follow up. to bring a person to a decision. And we teach 7 touches. I believe in going 7 touches. Now, when do you make up your mind if a person is worth going 7 touches on?
15 seconds.
That's right. If you come out of the gates with a great explanation of service, then you should know in the first 15 seconds. So how many of you have chased somebody for 15 months only to wish you never caught them? How many of you chased somebody only for them to be your worst client?
Yes.
Then you're trying to get rid of them, right? Here's the deal. I never teach people to chase. That's why I wrote the book Person of Interest. People of interest don't chase anything. You know what people of interest do? They attract. So when you have a great explanation of service, you lead with what you believe, you look right in their eyeballs, if they believe it too, hey, let's keep going. If they don't, move to the next person, right? But I make up my mind in 15 seconds if we should pursue a person, and I do go the 7 touches. Like if you're in my pipeline, I'm going to go 7 touches, right? So follow-up is a problem. The 4th area people struggle in is extraction of referrals. I want to set a goal for you right now. And I'd like to see who's willing to take this challenge. I'd like for you to try to get 125 referrals in 90 days. Now, you're going to go, oh my God, 125. Is he crazy? Like, what is he smoking? That's what I'm going to do starting September. Here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to go to my 25 best clients. And I'm going to say, look, we're doing something really big, and I can't do it without you. I need you to help me bring 5 more people to the program. But I'm going to give you a day to think about it, just a day, because you got a deep network of people, and you're an influential person. That's why I'm when you're in my best 25. And I'm going to call you back tomorrow, and I want you to give me that list, and I want you to call them and set it up. Then I'm going to call them, and I'm going to invite them to our next class. Notice how I'm not being vague about this. Like, hey, if you know somebody, can you help me out? This is how people do it. Like, if you know somebody in Dayton, could you bring them over to the city club, to the racket club? Is it racket club? Yeah. Yeah. We have a city club in Nashville. you know, and can you bring them down to the racket club? And you see what I'm saying? You got to be specific. So I'm going to try to get 125 referrals in 90 days, and I think I can do it. So we teach 5.7 referrals from every transaction. Out of every transaction, how do you get almost 6 referrals? Okay? So what business are you in? Insurance business. Okay, good. This is my insurance partner right here. We own an insurance company together. It's a good business to be in, you know, real good business to be in. Because everybody needs a good insurance, don't they? Everybody needs a good insurance guy. So I believe out of every great experience with the client, you should get 4 to 6 referrals. But most people never ask for referrals, right? They're afraid to ask. They don't know how to ask. They think it's awkward. They think, well, if I do a good job, they will ask. So we teach a big, heavy portion on how to extract referrals and optimize the customer relationship. This is an area we could all do better. Wouldn't you agree? If you look at every person as 6 deals, how do you get in there and get 6 deals? What's the number one thing people complain about their insurance company? What do you think it is?
Not talking to their
Yeah,
agent.
that's exactly right. So we call our insurance company Evolution, and the subtitle is, as you evolve, we evolve with you. As you grow, we grow with you. So we're going to engage with you. We're going to talk to you. We're going to spend time with you, because we know the reason you don't like your current insurance person is because you pay them every month. You never talk to them. That make sense? Now, they're there for you when you need it, maybe, okay, maybe not. But if you engage with people, how much more business would that bring you? Where there's no customer engagement, there's no transformation.
Coach, we'll go ahead
All right.
and get everyone's order.
Oh, yeah. Have you been there for a long time?
No, I wouldn't have stood there that long.
I was like, man, I hate if you've been sitting there for a long time. That's a good chance to take a break, too. I got one more, too, because then I want to see where everybody's got a missing structure. All right, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you guys a question. Sorry to interrupt you. I know we're going to be eating in a minute. Out of the 4 areas I've already given you, have you found a missing structure in your business yet? Yes or no? Not that it's not performing. I don't want you to think you go to a coach because you're weak or you're not doing good, or you're not. People go to coaches because they want to perform at a much higher level. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, so a lot of people have a misconception about, I go to a coach because I'm weak and they're going to expose how bad I am in this area. It's not true at all. A good coach should help you just get a lot better. They should help you accelerate. So you're going to figure this out on your own because you're smart, you're motivated, you're doing big things already. But imagine a person taking the mortgage originator that's doing $142 million. Do you know what her number was when she first came to me?
30.
60. She said, I'd like to do $60 million in mortgage production. Okay? Last year she did $142 million. Now I've been her coach for 5 years. but she comes to class, she listens. We meet every month, okay? Because I believe in a rhythm, right? I don't like things in 90-day increments. I like every month because there's a rhythm. Just like your heart beats in a rhythm. I think you need to be in a rhythm. She comes and gets a concept, she goes and does it. Some of them work, some of them don't, right? But she's so coachable, and she's probably earning a couple $1 million a year, you know, and she's proof that you can do that in the mortgage business. You can do it as in the real estate business, okay? You can do it in the insurance business. You can do it in any business. You can do it in your business. You see what I'm saying? It's out there. So the last piece that I see are missing structures. These are all areas we coach people on, is how to become a person of interest. And this is really big because I don't like chasing. I think chasing anything sucks. So what I try to do is build something that's attractive, that other people want to be a part of. Does that make sense? I try to build something dynamic that other people, you want people chasing you, not you chasing them. Okay, so I wrote a book on this. It's maybe one of my favorite books that I've written, called Person of Interest, and it is like the go-to player. You know, it's a person of interest. Like, people are interested in them. When you have a great explanation of service, work a selling system and circulate, follow up like a pro, extract referrals, what happens is your person of interest score is going to go up. And pretty soon you're going to keep going to the point where your phone is ringing, your schedule is booked. You're going to have to hire somebody just to handle all this incoming demand. You know, I mean, that's how in demand that you are. I have a person that does nothing but sit in my office all day long and handle all the requests I get in a day. And it's just one after another after another. I mean, all over the world, which is what's cool. It wasn't like that 10 years ago. 10 years ago, you know what I was doing? Out there knocking on doors going, hey, can I help? Can I coach your team? Can I help you? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I was out there just beating the bushes. But they say 10,000 hours of practice is when you master something, and I believe that. I believe 10,000 hours, that equates to 10 years. People typically have big breakthroughs in their business in the 10th year. The 10th year is when people have been working their muscle, now they're professionals, and then what happens, their income explodes, their businesses explode, and it didn't happen that day. It happened those 9 years before. Just, we say long obedience in the same direction. That's a faith-based book Eugene Peterson wrote, but he was a pastor, and he talked about how people, you know, they don't have a long obedience in the same direction. They got a little obedience, and then they fall off the wagon. And then, you understand what I'm saying? So what does a good coach do for you? A good coach closes the loop on you starting with good intention, falling off the wagon, feeling guilty about it. Good coaching programs should keep you in a forward posture, attacking your goals, and never let you, as Gene said earlier, backslide. You know what I'm saying? That's what a good coaching program. So we're bringing the program to Dayton. Tonight I'm going to kick it off here. Gene has gone through the certification process, so he's one of our certified coaches. Every month we bring this content. Tonight I'm going to teach some of the legacy selling system to the group, but every month we tackle a concept that will help you grow your business. And so in Dayton, you would be able to come here or to his location. He's going to be teaching the same content that I teach every month. You also get access to all of the programming I do, so you get the online, you get the videos online, private Facebook group. You get all the stuff that I pump out every month, which is a lot. I mean, I do almost coaching sessions almost every day. So that's kind of what we're kicking off in Dayton, Ohio. And my goal is to get you, you know, in the mortgage business, if I could get you, let's just say I could get you 1 to 2 more deals a month. Okay, just think about it. I annualize everything. If we do it right, get you 2 more, it's 24 more deals. I want you to put a number on that, how much money that'd be worth to you, right? If you're a real estate agent, if I got you 5 more deals a year and you calculate your commission on 5 more deals, how much would that be worth to you? Okay, and then I want you to think about that, okay? Because I feel confident if you will get in the program and stick to it, then that's the kind of numbers you could do, if that makes sense. And the reason I say this is because we've got people in the program doing it. Now, does everybody do it? No. Out of 600 people, some people come and go all in. Some people halfway go in. Some people we can't find, you know. It's like you got to put APB out on them. They're lost out in the world, and I can't get them. So if you commit to the process, it will work. Okay? So out of those 5 big structures, where do you think you need the most help? Start with you.
Definitely explaining what I do.
Yep.
That's one of the things that I'm going through Sandler sales training right now. We're in week 6, and they refer to it as the 6-second commercial.
Yep.
In our cold calling process.
Yep.
And that's what we are working on developing right now.
That's right. It's good.
I think our entire team needs help on that.
Yeah. I've been going through Robert Cialdini's Persuasion. He wrote Influence 30 years ago. He hadn't written a book in 30 years. He talks about front-loading the value, where you're stacking value in the beginning, and then when you do make the offer, they're like, oh, this, right? And one way you persuade before you persuade a person is you elevate status. You know, the way, like if he was on the phone talking about me, he may say, Coach Burt spent 25 years perfecting these. He's actively coaching over 600 people. We're getting people 43% increase. He's coaching the 5 biggest mortgage originators. He can stack that value up. You see what I'm saying? Now, in some coaching scenarios, he may say people are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to be coached by Coach Burt. But, you know, we could get you into the coaching program for this amount. See what I'm saying? That's how you persuade, is you front load that value. If you're a real estate agent, you say, man, this is the best subdivision in all of this market, right? Typically, houses in this market would be, I mean, I just sold a house the other day for $2 million in this, okay? We could put you in this house right now for $997. Can you believe that? God, $997. I thought it was going to be $2 million. See, so you bring the value up, and then you come back down, and you see what I'm saying? You hit people and say you could do this, and that's part of that persuasion model. Okay, that's good.
Referrals from existing customers.
Yep.
And keeping in touch with them. I know it's kind of two
That's
areas,
right.
but you know, keeping in touch with them after the sale.
Yeah, that's good.
Constantly.
It's a big problem for a lot of people. I really believe it's because your brain loves new, novel, and different. Releases endorphins when you get something new, gets bored very easily. So I think your brain loves go get new clients, and it gets bored with old clients. You see what I'm saying? It's like, oh, we already done that before. But when you have an engagement model, like an insurance model, where they're paying every month, it's very easy for somebody to come along and steal those customers away from you if you're not paying attention to them, right? That's what we're doing with our company, is we're basically going to all the people who have not engaged with their clients, you know, people that are out there in the market, they got a passive relationship with their insurance agent, and we're saying, hey, we'll pay attention to you. We'll love on you. We'll evolve with you. So it's an industry I think you could dominate in. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I really do. I mean, it's a great business model. Okay?
I actually think that I could work on pretty much everything.
That's good. Yeah, yeah.
You mentioned.
Hey, me too.
I would say too, just like you're saying, adding a thing of value. You know, I just maybe coming up with explaining what I do too.
Yes.
I think that I need to, instead of just saying I do mortgages.
That's right.
Come up with.
That's right.
What can I offer them or give them a value?
That's right.
Instead of just saying I do mortgages.
Yeah. It's hard to make a mortgage sexy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, a mortgage, it's hard. I mean, a lot of industries we're in, listen, it's just a manufactured product pushed through an assembly line. Solves a problem for a consumer that can't buy a house with cash, which is most people, right?
Right.
Solves a big problem in the world. But I think when you see, like if I showed you what this woman who's doing $142 million does, she's doing big events every month where 150 real estate agents are coming to them. She's a master at making real estate agents feel important. Like she'll show up at their office with their name on her shirt. I love this real estate agent. I mean, she. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. This woman. Let me tell you something. This woman is a freak of nature, and she's constantly. So what is her real skill set? It is the hard skill of doing mortgages, but her real skill set is she's a master promoter. She's a master marketer. Does that make sense? That's really what separates her from all the other people.
I think I need a bunch of T-shirts.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, think about that.
I'm
You know,
totally
she
would totally rock the T-shirts.
she's just really good at. There was a book many years ago called Mr. Schmooze, and Mr. Schmooze was a real dude in Atlanta who was a master at making people feel important. You know, like when you showed up. Like if I showed up here to the City Club today, he already talked to the people and said, you know, Coach Burt's going to be here. Everybody would call him by name. Make sure you call him by name when you sit down. You see what I'm saying? He would have something, a book already for you, written out. You know, he was just a master schmooze, but not in like a car salesman way, a cheap way, but like in a way that made you feel special. And I actually met a dude in Nashville like this, and I had dinner with him once at the City Club. I'm like, man, that guy's good. You know, you get done, he's got a little peppermint for you. He's like, here you go, big guy. You know, he's always like 2 or 3 steps ahead of you. You know, it's real, but it takes time to be that good. And so I think, you know, what we would help you do is come up with a lot of strategies on how you can differentiate and show you a way to go out into the marketplace and push those strategies out. And the reason we can do that is because I'm coaching some mortgage people that are great at the client experience, I'm coaching some that are great with the real estate agent. I'm coaching some that are great marketers. And I have the benefit of looking at all these people and going, man, let's take the best of what she's doing, the best of what he's doing, the best of what, and let's put it into one person. And that'd be like a little superhuman person.
And that's the value of the network, right?
That's the value of the network.
So,
Because what should happen is if you guys are interacting with each other on a monthly basis, there's going to be a lot of exchange. And what I mean by it, not just with money, energy. You're going to exchange energy with each other. You're going to support each other. You're going to do business with each other. You're going to form joint. I never thought in a million years I'd be part of an insurance company. When this guy was in the program, he came to me and said, hey, let's go tackle this market. Let's be business partners. I said, I'm in. Where did he come from? Coaching program. The house I own in Florida, I partnered with one of my people in the coaching program. The investors that invest in my app, guess where they came from? Coaching program. So it becomes this network of just ridiculous people who are just exchanging with each other. You see what I'm saying? Like some people go to BNI, and that's a great organization, but the amount of money that is exchanged in our program is not a few $100,000, it's millions of dollars. And that's a powerful thing to be able to, so I always say it's like BNI on steroids, you know? Okay, thank you for that. Yep.
I mean, I'm sure like most people, they find everything could be better, but I would say explanation of services and
Yeah.
referrals as well. Just like someone you were talking, I mean, my line tends to be like, do you know anybody, that kind of
Yeah.
passive, hey,
Yeah.
who do you know, maybe,
That's right.
please.
Well, well, that's why a lot of people ask for referrals. Here's one thing that I say. Let's say I'm taking Brian. I may say this, Brian, I love working with you, love everything about you, love your energy. And if I love working with you as much as I do, I know I'm going to love working with some of your friends. Because here's what I say that pulls it together. Like gravitates toward like. Progressive people hang around other progressive people. Does that make sense? Unhappy people hang around other unhappy people. So what you do is you go to your best people and say, man, I love working with you. You know, but my business, it grows because of people like you helping me bring new people to the equation. Who else can you help me with? And if you've done a good job, they should say, absolutely, I'd love to help you, right? So, but I don't like the question, do you know anybody buying or selling real estate? It's a creepy question. I mean, people ask me that question, like I'm out at dinner and they're like, hey, do you know anybody buying or selling real estate? I'm like, no, I don't. But if you ask it like, hey, I'm really trying to build my real estate practice, man, who do I need to be connected to? I may say you need to know Gene Pritchett up there in Dayton, Ohio. You need to know, you see what I'm saying? Then it's not about selling them something. It's like, hey, you need to be connected to this person. And you need to be connected to this person. I don't know what's going to happen with you two, but I'm telling you, there's like-mindedness here. You see what I'm saying? That's a much better way to get referrals than to ask a creepy question.
And Coach, to piggyback off of that, the next piece is that I got through coaching was asking without consideration.
Yeah.
Right. So you
That's the hardest part.
Yeah, you know that you need to ask that. We just gathered that. Now
Yep.
I have to
Yep.
get out of my own way and say, well, I know Lindsay knows all these real estate agents.
Yep.
So I can't ask her. I mean, well, she's busy. Well, she has kids and school started, so
Right.
I can't call now, right? So I virtually talk myself out of the success.
Yeah.
So and so for the networking and the coaching piece, you get to refresh what you need to do. You get to go back through and say, here are the steps that I need to be focused on, right? What is my limitation? Why am I holding myself back, you know? And then within a network group, what I found is that, like you said, like gravitates to like, those who associate assimilate. We can say, what you struggling with? I struggle with it too. You're a real estate business owner. I'm a real estate business owner too. Let's be a little vulnerable together. That was the biggest thing for me. I don't have to be perfect, right?
Yeah.
I can be vulnerable. And so Brian might be able to say, you know, this is kind of what I do when I do it. And that could give me enough courage
Yeah.
to take action, because
Yeah.
action is at the bottom. That's the denominator, common denominator,
Mm-hmm.
taking that action. We know what to do. We got to play.
Mm-hmm.
The whistle blows. Go. So.
It's good. Well, we did a course on this a few months ago, probably one of the best courses we've done in a while, called How to Ask Without Consideration. And consideration, let me use another word, hesitation. So consideration is you have considered something internally that is prohibiting you from taking an external action. Like, I don't want to follow up with them 7 times because I would be a stalker. Like, that's a consideration. Consideration is, oh, here's a big one. Somebody else already has all their business. So why even call on them? That's a huge consideration. I'll never be able to do that. They'll never take my phone call. They'll never, these are internal hesitations people have. You don't know until, I always ask people this, what am I thinking right now in my mind? And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, I know. What's the only way for you to know? By asking me. So I will pick up the phone and call anybody, anywhere, anytime, with no hesitation whatsoever. If you said, look, we're going to get President Trump on the phone right now, I'd say, give me the number. Right? Because all they can do is say, I'm not interested. Right? So there's no such thing as rejection. Okay? They may not want what you have, but somebody else will. So we go through a lot of, I say we go through a lot of duds to find the studs. All right, what's yours?
I typically ask for referrals when it's too late, like at the closing table, when all they want to think about now is getting in their house and what they're going to do and decorate. Instead of while we're looking at houses, when that's all they talk about with their friends and family.
That's right.
So I need to be ahead of the game and ask before it's
That's
too
right.
late.
And if you were wanting to persuade them, you could say this, look, if this goes well like I expect it to, and we found that house of your dreams and we get you in there and it runs like it's supposed to, when this is done, I'm going to want to work with some of your friends. Does that sound like a good deal? I ask before I even start. If I'm speaking, like I'm out on tour right now for RE/MAX, I'm doing 35 big events for RE/MAX, and I want to speak at R4 because R4 is their big convention in Las Vegas where they bring 4,000 to 5,000 real estate agents in. I asked from the very beginning, before I even went out on tour for them, if this goes well like I think it's going to, can I get on stage at R4? Because that's really my ultimate goal, right? Now, I know I got to do these 35 events, and we're going to be great at those, but if it goes well, can we go ahead and talk about that? And I asked before I even went on, did one event. That's pre-setting that. That's exactly right. Just ask it up front. That's persuading them. And I would tell you this, the best time to ask for referrals between contract and close, when they're excited. While they're excited. Once they get in that house, they have moved on. Okay, so you gotta during the process. I've done a lot of titles, like because I do buy a lot of real estate. I've never had a title person ever ask me for a referral ever. And I go in there, sign the papers. I went in one the other day. I thought it was a funeral home. I really did. I could tell. I'm like, am I in a funeral home? Is this? Am I picking my plot? You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I doing here? Like, this place was creepy. I was like, man, this is crazy. This is not a place. Okay.
They call that the town.
All right. What about you, big guy?
I'm just like these guys. I think I could improve in all of those areas. I feel like we have, some structure, that addresses all those things. But there's a lot of younger people in my organization that are kind of up and comers. So that's something that I could pass down to them.
That's right. That's good.
And also help myself.
It's good.
I think there's a lot.
Well, you said a key word. You can't give away what you don't possess.
Yeah.
So when I tell my team to do things, I want them to see me doing it.
Yeah.
So I get in there and prospect with them.
Yeah.
I make customer calls with them. I say, this is how you need to do this, right? Let's give me this and let's do it together. So I think it's very critical that you have a system and you're transporting that system to your team. Most people don't have a system of how they go about the day.
That's kind of how I feel right now. I feel like we do a lot of good things. We have a lot of opportunity, but we just don't have a system that we can pass down, and
Yeah. That's good. Okay. All right. We can help you with that. That's good. All right. You going to finish us off?
Sure. Mine is I just don't go out and get business.
Okay.
Yeah.
What prohibits you from going out and getting it?
Can't really tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, most of our business is based off performance.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
And we're busy.
Yeah.
So no complaints. But
Yeah.
I'd like to go out more and do more.
That's good. Now, this is called a success trap, is that a lot of people reach a certain level of success, and it's coming, and it's good, and there's nothing wrong with it, right? But you may say at some point, like here's something I hear from a real estate agent. Well, I'm already doing 50 deals. Like, how else could I get better? And I would be like, well, what if I put you in a room with a person doing 150 deals? You see what I'm saying? Like it's all, I'm not comparing you to them. I'm just saying if they could do it, there's a potential for you to do it, because I see a lot of talent in you. So I think when you get intentional, I have a saying that says this: there comes a time when winter asks what you did all spring and summer. Because the way we won championships is we had really tough off seasons, pre-seasons, workouts. And I would always say, we don't win championships during the season. That's a performance time. This is a preparation season. Well, what if I am booming with business right now, and I'm exceeding my sales goals, and I don't get intentional about my business and keep working it? At some point, all that business could dry up. So here's my thought. I go to bed tired, and I wake up hungry. Let me give it another way. I go to bed broke, No matter how much money I accumulate, I go to bed as if I'm broke, and I wake up hungry every day. Because there comes a time when winter asks what you did all spring and summer. So, you know, if you know, like if you said, I'm going to go out and get intentional and work it, there is no telling what could happen. And I want you to think expansion. For too long, a big mistake I made is I thought too small. I'm operating right here, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to be a little star in my little local town. Then I started going, no. Then one of my buddies is Grant Cardone. You may know Cardone. Cardone wrote the 10X rule. He's really exploded the last couple of years. And he's probably worth $300 or $400 million. And I was in Mexico with him doing an event, and I was talking about my market, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and I got to do this. And he looked at me, and he didn't even blink twice. He's like, man, you got to quit talking like that. I'm like, what do you mean? He said, quit talking local, man. It's embarrassing. Here's what he said. You need to be using these words, planet Earth. He's like, because I'm looking at you, and you can be a star on planet Earth. Quit talking about your little bitty market. That's your first problem. And that comment stuck with me. So I went home, and we had a picture together, and I had somebody Photoshop it, and it was a picture of he and I standing in front of the planet Earth. And I sent it to him. I said, let's 10X planet Earth together. You see what I'm saying? Because that was a very pivotal moment in my career. He's saying you're playing too small. Quit thinking too small here. Which is why I said, let's take Monster Producer where? All over the world. Not just in my local market. Does that make sense? So we're going to let you eat. I'm not going to talk to you. Know, we do have an Amway presentation after this if you're interested. I will help you build your legs or whatever. But my point is, I thank you for coming today. If this is something that interests you, we would love. This is what we're going to do tonight. I'm going to do some coaching tonight. Gene's going to coach some tonight. Gene will be the coach in this market. Okay, I'll come to this market from time to time, but he's more than qualified to coach you and get you to the next level. And month after month, you're going to come together and get coached and get trained and get better. So if you're interested in the program is priced at $499 per month. Okay, that's less than $6,000 a year. Okay, and here's what I would tell you. My goal for you is a 43% increase. So you take whatever number you're doing right now and add 40% to it if you do what we're teaching you to do. Does that make sense? And that little payment every month is going to seem like nothing when you're making this much money. Everybody follow what I'm saying? A lot of times the people I'm getting to coach me right now, some of the people that are coaching me right now are like $10,000 a month. So I'm spending significant money on people to get me to a higher level. And here was my prerequisite. They had to be operating. Like the people coaching me are worth a couple $100 million. Follow what I'm saying? And I'm like a little baby star to them. But guess what? That's why I hired them to coach me. Because they can take me from a little baby star, this. You follow where I'm going in here? And I know it seems like a lot of money, but if they help me make a couple million more dollars, what's $120,000? Follow what I'm saying here? I always tell people you're focused on the wrong number. This guy knows something I don't know. And if I knew it, I'd already be doing what he's doing. So he can help me produce at this level. Does that make sense? So if you are interested, just let us know while you're here. If you want to come see it, experience it, whatever you want to do. But some of you, Gene, I said, don't invite any duds to lunch, Gene. I did, man. I'm telling you. Look, listen, you coach as many people as I do, there's some duds out there, okay? I'm like, invite progressive people, right? Like who are serious about their life and business. That's the kind of, so you're here because he sees something in you. Fair enough? Thank you, guys. And if y'all want to talk about anything else, we can talk about anything else. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Looks good, Gene.
Enjoy.
All right.